It's the 28th of October and it's time for my 28th film in my 31 Horrors of Mike. No matter how many times I say that, it just doesn't come out right. So, the film we're talking about today is the 1958 B movie classic It, The Terror from Beyond Space. Now, I'm breaking one of my rules here because this film I've actually talked about before. A long time ago, I did a top 10 science fiction movies list, which you can find on my channel, and this film was on it. But I decided that I wanted to talk about this film because it has a really important legacy in terms of the horror genre, and it's also one which not that many people know about. And I've got a lot of newer subscribers since then. I mean, I've got way more subscribers since I made that video. So, just thought, let's see what you guys think of this film as well. At the Terror from Beyond Space, like I say, it was released in 1958. It was written by Jerome Bixby, who would go on to write episodes of Star Trek and Twilight Zone. And it follows the rescue attempt made by a ship from Earth, which goes to Mars to try to locate a previous expedition that went there to explore the planet's surface. When they get there, they find that the previous expedition has actually been wiped out, bar one survivor. That survivor claims that the crew were wiped out by some sort of creature that came out of a sandstorm on the Martian surface. The captain of the rescue ship believes otherwise. He believes that no, we think that you probably killed the other crew members so that you could ration the food for yourself. And they then decide to take him back to Earth to face a court martial and to have a trial as to whether he had actually murdered the crew. When they are leaving, just before they blast off, a creature does appear and it sneaks onto the ship. They then find that this stowaway alien is beginning to wipe out the crew that is on the ship, and as their numbers dwindle, they attempt to find numerous different ways to actually destroy the alien creature before they get to Earth. So, does that sound familiar? Of course it sounds familiar. It sounds like the film Alien. Now, there's a lot of debate about the effect of It, The Terror from Beyond Space on the film Alien. First of all, an alien creature stowing away on a spaceship, it's more than possible that more than one person could actually come up with that idea for a film. So it doesn't necessarily mean that Alien was based on It, The Terror from Beyond Space. However, Ridley Scott, the director, has been quoted as saying that this film was an influence on Alien, and some people have went as far as to say that they feel that Alien is almost a sort of pseudo remake because there are many parallels between both films. It, The Terror from Beyond Space has some budgetary problems, obviously because it's a B movie. Now, just because it's a B movie doesn't mean that it can't have scope. It doesn't mean that it can't be visually, spectacular or anything like that. But quite often, unfortunately, it does mean that you don't have a high level of craftsmanship, or you don't have the money to show that craftsmanship on the screen, so things can look a little bit stale and uninspired. I don't think It, The Terror from Beyond Space really suffers too much in terms of that with regards to the sets. The sets look like pretty much, the standard sort of space fare for that time. Where the film suffers a little bit, I think, is the alien creature isn't really up to a great deal. And that's one thing that the makers of Alien had on their side. They had much greater special effects and a lot more money, and came up with just a phenomenal design for an alien creature. What makes it work is because I'm going to stop saying It, The Terror from Beyond Space because it's too long a title, but what makes it work is the confined environment and the feeling of being trapped within that environment, and what that conveys to the audience. I think that's one of these universally psychological situations which draws an audience in. Aliens, the sequel to Alien, plays on that brilliantly. The Thing from Another World, a contemporary of this film, very much feels uh, like this, and I think very much is, an influence on this movie. Um, and yeah, I think it works from that point of view. It's not really frightening, but it's got some really great scenes in it. It's well written. You've got B movie acting, you've got some B movie special effects, but if you're into that, that can really add a complete charm to the film, and I think it does in the case of this movie. So for what it is in terms of the legacy that it had, and that it has, and the fact that on its own, there are so many really poor B movies made at this time. When you find a gem like this, you really need to hang on to it, and watch. And you can see how, I mean, this very much could have played out as an episode of Star Trek or a self-contained story within the Twilight Zone. It very much has that sort of feel to it, that sort of vibe. So that is it, Terror from Beyond Space, and that's the 28th film on my list. I highly recommend this if you've not seen it. It's really great fun, and leave your skepticism at the door for low budget productions, because sometimes they're the best movies. So go and check it out, and I'll be back tomorrow with the 29th film in my 31 Horrors of Mike. We're nearly there. Bye for now.